Alright, ladies and germs, I'm back on the beat again. I got my book back out. I'm already starting to lose pages because I don't know how to treat my books with any respect. Actually, I'm just kidding. I treat all my books with lots of respect. Okay, my last video I just made moments ago was I called into question the dating methods. Basically, I called into question one dating method. To be intellectually honest, I called into question the uranium to lead dating method. I'm not going to bother with carbon-14. Anybody wants to try, bring it on. Potassium-argon dating. Let's see. Cook, his name was in here a moment ago, Melvin Cook, talks, a lot of his, he was used as the main source for this section of the book called Rocks of the Ages, or Rock of Ages, Rock of Ages. Milton uses a lot of different sources in his book, but I really like how he was consistent throughout this one. He talked about helium, from uranium to lead to uranium to helium. I'm not going to tackle the uranium to helium because apparently it's not one that's used often enough to warrant paying any attention to, but potassium-argon dating is one I actually do want to tackle quickly. Given the 10-minute video, I don't really have a whole lot. But potassium minerals are commonly found in many rocks, which is true. Potassium-40 decays by capturing an electron and turning into gas argon-40 with a half-life of 1.3 billion years. I'm basically just going to read this section, so just in case I don't look at the camera, that's why. Advocates of the potassium-argon dating method claim that argon gas that results from the decay of potassium-40 remains trapped in the crystal structures of the mineral in which it forms, like a bird cage. To use Brent, I cannot say this man's last name, Diremful phrase, and accumulates through the ages, thus acting as a clock which stored daughter isotope and released as measured. Potassium-argon method is suspect because the end product used for assay, argon-40, is a very common isotope in the atmosphere and the rocks of the Earth's crust. It's very common. Let's see. Indeed, argon is the 12th most abundant chemical element on the Earth, and more than 99% of it is argon-40. There is no physical or chemical way to tell whether any given sample of argon-40 is the residue of radioactive decay or was present in the rocks when they formed. Moreover, as argon is an inert gas that will not react with any other element, its atoms will always be trapped in the crystal structures of minerals, whether it's radiogenic in origin or not. Cook has calculated that even if the Earth were 5 billion years old, no more than 1% of the argon-40 currently present in the Earth could be a radiogenic daughter product. It is thus highly probable that some of the argon-40 in all potassium minerals that had been derived directly rather than a result of decay. So, if radiogenic argon-40 is like a bird cage, then it is a cage that already contains birds of the same feather from which it is undistinguishable. The possibility of anomalous inclusion of argon is not merely conjecture, but is born out of numerous studies of volcanic rocks that have resulted in false dates. Yes. Tons of false dates have been given using potassium-argon dated, and still I hear it used. That is why I'm doing this. That is why. I'm sorry if I seem a little aggravated, but this one gets me more than any others, because back when I used to hear carbon-14 left and right, and finally I got some people from the evolutionist side to back me up and say no one uses that because it's garbage. It's more or less the same problem that's with argon, is it's unstable. You know, it's not something that's constant. Yes, the way that that the potassium, when the argon is captured in the crystal, yes, it's captured in a crystal, kind of like a bird in a cage. But the problem is there was probably already some there. And then the fact that it's in the atmosphere, you're not really helping much. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, when you test the sample as, yes, there's going to be argon-40, because 99% of all argon on the face of planet Earth is argon-40. And you can't tell whether or not it's a radiogenic daughter product or not. So it's, to be completely honest, it's kind of a waste of time to even use this. But still, I hear it time and time again. Another one, which I'm not going to go super into, but I will talk about, is strontium. Strontium-87 occurs in rocks as a result of decay of radioactive rubidium. However, this technique is again complicated by the fact that strontium-87 also occurs both as a daughter product of radioactive decay and as a commonly occurring element in its own right. Typically, rocks contain 10 times more common strontium-87 than radiogenic strontium-87. Rubidium to strontium is also suspect because it is subject to exactly the same neutron capture process as uranium-lead. This time, it is strontium-86 that can be transformed into strontium-87. So again, another dating method debunked. And I guarantee you I'm going to hear this. I guarantee you I'm going to hear this one. This is not one that I've heard a lot about. I do hear potassium-argon dating because it's used in volcanic ash. And it's been wrong quite often. Mount St. Helen. Look it up. It aggravates me because I've heard this so many times I can't even begin to. But it's things like this, and I mean, I knew that if I did one dating method, I was going to get, well, there are others. Yeah, there are others, and they're all wrong. So I've yet to hear of a dating method that has 100% accuracy outside of a range of 10,000 years. I haven't heard it yet. So, in that respect, basically what I'm calling into question is I'm saying, because the way I've heard evolutionists prance their way around this one is that there are many different dating methods that can date certain things in certain realms. Like, a certain dating method can only get something from here to here. If you get it something that's outside of that range, it's either wrong, or it's either very wrong, or something happened to the results. And then what they do is they collaborate a whole bunch of different dating methods and ballpark the general area they're talking about. And a huge problem I have with that is the ballpark isn't even, like, when you put it in the numbers they put it in, which I'll demonstrate in a second, it sounds like, oh, well, you guys at least got in a ballpark area. But you'll hear something along the lines of between, like, 11 and 20 million years. Well, yeah, there's not a huge difference between 11 and 20, but the million part, I have problems with. If you're allowed to be off by 9 million, and no one calls that into question, I want that kind of stuff on, like, my math tests. You know, I want to be off by a factor. I want to be off by 9 million and still get it right. You know what I'm saying? So, this is my last bit on radiometric dating. The biggest one is with, what is this one? This is the Lake Turkana man, probably using his enemies between 0.5 and 17.5 million years ago. This is, if you look the story up, I can't go into it because I don't have a whole lot of time, but there were a group of scientists went to where this place was and got dates. Their dates were ballparked roughly between like 0.5 and like 2.6 million years. I'd wager that that's a pretty good, considering the scale on which you're talking. 0.5 to 2.6 isn't that bad. And then other guys came back and they were like, no, it's 11.2 to 17.6. And then, so you have this really low, and then really high, and then people were jumping around, and everybody was calling everybody else liar. And then they finally said, well, it's probably between the lowest one we have and the highest one we have, and we'll ballpark it around here because that's what the fossils should be. So, it's a large margin. You guys are welcome to look that one up on your own. I don't have a whole lot of time to go into it. But it was a classic display of the fact that the dating methods are foobar. My apologies for the French, but they are. They are so foobar. When you can get two groups of scientists coming in and be like, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, and you're off by a pretty decent factor. You know that because I've heard, well, the dates collaborate. No, they don't. I guarantee there was probably about ready a fist fight to go down about this stuff, because I know scientists and their work, and I give you guys credit. for be willing to bust, go fisticuffs in the parking lot over stuff like this. But when things like this happen, there's a problem with the dating methods. So this is my last video for the evening, probably. Thank you guys for watching. The next one I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be kind of tackling mutations and natural selection and stuff like that. So I figure basically is that mutation and natural selection, yeah, it occurs, and like I said in earlier videos, you get some cool stuff over millions and billions of years. But I'm calling into question right here, saying you guys don't have that kind of time. And in my next few videos, I'm going to kind of say you couldn't get us anyway, so don't bother. So that's all I've got. Peace and God bless. Thank you for watching.